welcome. You're watching TV9. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated to all of us just how critical our supply chains are. Now, while we were forced to lock ourselves up for the large part of the last 18-odd months, it was our truck drivers who braved the pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns to steer our daily supplies of be it food, vegetables, medicines, even retail products with courage to all of us. Today on this show, I'm going to be speaking with one company which has stood with this community of transport to help them actually deal with this ongoing crisis. I have with me Mr. Umesh Revankar, who's the CEO at Shriram Transport Finance, on this special show to discuss with me how this company has been supporting this community. Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Now, let me kickstart by asking you first, of course, just like how I pointed out, this has been an unprecedented crisis. I want to understand how STFC has stood firm on its values despite these turbulent times, and what are the key initiatives that you took, the steps that you took to overcome the challenges of this 1 in 100 years kind of a pandemic.
First of all, I would like to say that the customers whom we lend are almost all are individual operators. They own their own vehicle and operate. And since they operate their vehicle personally, they have a liberty to operate. So they are not dependent on a driver most of the time. But yes, there are some large operators who are dependent on drivers. So one of the family members take the responsibility of operating. So he knows what business he is in and what are the risks in the business. So he is well aware of his business. And the second most part, what you touched upon is, these are all the essentials in transport. It could be perishable, it could be vegetable, or it could be FMCG produce. Because today, the kind of consumerism FMCG produce, most of the people order online. So people have shifted to online from direct purchasing. So everything need to be moved. If the produce or products do not move, there are losses at the end of production. And also there are consumer have to pay very high price because particular product which they want is not available. So both need to be managed well. So reaching in time is very important. So the truckers, they play a very important role. Any kind of crisis, even if you look at in the war situation, recently we have not seen the wars, but even in the war, you will see that transportation and last mile reach is as much important, and many a times civil transporters participate in the transportation.
Yes.
So they know, so they have come into this profession knowing what is their importance in the running of an economy. They know. Of course, many of them are not really literate, they may not be really appreciate their own job, but we have been appreciating. In our company, we have been funding the individuals who are otherwise would have been happy being a driver. When they want to be the owner, we have been helping them. Because people with track record, there is always a bank to lend. But people who want to build a track record and take a loan for the first time, Shriram is one of the leading company which has been financing. So in this particular crisis, what we did is, first of all, when there was a break, a total lockdown of around 21 days, when the entire logistics got stopped, virtually on the road, because many people did not know when to reach, and there were restrictions inter-district. Each district collectors had their own restrictions, and police officials also did not want things to move. So there was some kind of a fear that this virus would travel from one district to another district without understanding that the essentials have to be moved. So that confusion was there for 15 days, but once they realized, in fact, we also made appeal to various ministries through media that this need to be moved, and these people are very important, and there should not be restriction on the movement of trucks. Then it was eased on April 21, I believe, it got eased, and after that, every administrator, every government, every department, they realized that this need to keep going on. After that, the restriction on the movement of the goods came down. There were restriction on passenger movement, but restriction on the goods was virtually removed. From the company side, what we did is we tried to reach the customers through mobile and tried to tell him that you are important, you are moving into the field is important, you should be there. And sanitization and mask, because there was shortage of mask. Mask was not available. We tried to procure as many masks as possible, sanitizer, and gave them some tips on how to maintain the hygienes. And we also gave food packets wherever the truckers were stranded. There are many people who were stranded, and wherever possible, I cannot claim that we have done a big role, but wherever possible, I advise my branch managers and the regional heads, wherever you can, you try to reach out some food packets to them so that there is some comfort to them. So water bottles and food packets we try to reach along with the mask and other required items. So that gave them a confidence. So giving the confidence was very important. And in fact, some of the drivers who went home, they did not return immediately. And it took long time for them to return. So large fleet operators were hit badly because they were dependent on drivers. And typically in India, you won't believe if I say that most of the drivers in the western part, like Gujarat, Maharashtra and all, they come from the eastern part, Bihar, Jharkhand. So there is a migratory employment.
So they had to go all the way back to east.
Yeah, no, they have come for the job. Once they go home, bringing them back becomes a challenge. So there is a shortage of skilled drivers in India. And some of them just become a driver, but they are not skilled enough to manage in certain situations. So all this go back to one original talk which I was telling you about, owner-operator. Owner-operator is the most skilled person. He knows what he's doing and he is the owner of the business enterprise. He has taken a loan and he need to return the loan and he want to be successful entrepreneur. So making him successful entrepreneur is the job of us. So we wanted to play that role even during the COVID or otherwise, because that is our ultimate goal. And I feel we try to do that, give that confidence to the customers and to our field team, who were also equally affected at that time.
Absolutely, sir. And you brought out this very important point of skilled drivers. I wanted to understand, during the second wave, just like how you said that, India was very hard hit at a time when it was least expecting it. And the way it brought our healthcare crisis into fore was something that got everybody of us thinking as to where are the shortages. We never thought of those, especially with the shortage of oxygen. This was a revelation which we got to know from you, that perhaps in many places, it was not really the shortage of oxygen, but the shortage of the skilled drivers who could drive this liquid oxygen to various places of need. So help us understand, what have you been doing to skill these drivers so that all these essential supplies, ever in eventuality in future also, do not occur?
Yeah, see, many of these driver become a driver from being a cleaner to driver, not really wanting to be a driver, but they just come into the profession. Or some of them come in the family. Okay, my father is driver, I become a driver. And they are the skilled driver. They know what his driving profession is. And some of them accidentally come into the driving profession. And what are we are talking about skill means when you drive a tractor trailer, when there is a tractor and trailer behind, there are two moving parts. Then there is a cylinder, or when there is a liquid cylinder, like oxygen is liquefied. And so in that moment, the tanker driving or tractor trailer driving is not simple as a typical heavy vehicle driving. They are different. There need to be separate skills and you need to get trained physically getting into. And for oxygen cylinder especially, you need to be going into the plant of oxygen where it is been made. And there you have certain protocols in moving in and moving out and all those things that they should be aware. So all those things requires a certain additional training. Fortunately, we were already in one of the session of training, because we have been training drivers for last 5 years as a CSR program. And also we wanted to give the pride to the driver, because we did not want him to just go and take a certificate of driving license and be a driver. He should be having a certain pride. But there are challenges here, because a person who's already working, he should leave that job and come here.
Time is not there.
Imagine he's earning 30,000 per month or 40,000 per month. He should come out of that, and and we have to assure him that you will get a better job, or you will get that incentive for
Knowing this skill.
Yeah. So all those things were required, and assembling people, encouraging them also becomes a challenge at that level, which we have done, and we want to do it continuously, because we feel that skilled drivers are essential part of India. In fact, there are statistics, if you look at, there are around 1.5 lakhs death every year due to the accident. It need not be because of a goods vehicle, it could be passenger vehicle also, but in total. It is, that means there are certain skill sets, there are lack of skill sets, or people are not aware of proper driving, taking a proper lane, proper turn, proper signal, observing things, all those things. So we would like to be part of proper training. And it also gives, one is the pride to the driver, and also it safeguards his life in case of any eventuality. So we would like to be part of the community.
Right. Also, as I understand, it's not just during these 18 odd months. STFC has been working to augment the livelihoods of truck drivers and even their families since the year 1979. If you could help us, with some of the insights, the various offerings that you have, the initiatives you've taken, perhaps in the field of healthcare or even education, so that you can help us as to what are the things that you've taken so that you can augment these lives and, take their lives on the road to prosperity.
Yeah, see, when we look at the trucking community, we are looking them as a total community. We are not looking them as my customer. Because if I'm focusing only on my customer, I may be able to reach to 10% of the total community. So as a total community, we wanted to address certain issues of the driver community or owner-operator community. First thing is education, because a typical driver is away from home for 20 to 21 days. So in the absence of breadwinner or head of the family, the education gets disturbed. There's no focus, there's no encouragement. So first thing we wanted to give is the scholarship to the children of the drivers, because we found that up to 7th somehow they study. Beyond that, there is no motivation. And 8th to 12th, 5 years, we thought we'll give some motivation, some scholarship to them, so that one is they get some incentive, and because many of them would be studying in the local school, fee may not be really big, but some motivation, some money coming into the hand helps them and their family, the mother and father, they feel proud. Then, of course, the health part of it was, in fact, initially we thought we'll just try and put one mobile van and see whether really our customers and our trucking community appreciates that. But I found to the surprise that every day there used to be nearly 100 people coming into that clinic. We have now around 25 vans across the country, and more than 7 lakh people have taken the benefit. And since the medicine is free, they don't have that inhibition to come. That's one thing. And if at all they have some major issues, health issues, then we advise them to meet the specialist. We don't really carry out for other things. So then we thought of even eye test we try to do, because many of our drivers, they end up eating not the traditional drivers. Many of the drivers, they end up eating junk food.
Junk food, yes.
And they end up having a diabetic early stage. And that's something which was baffled us. We thought diabetes is something rich man's disease. It need not be, but it need not be. It's a junk food can create. And if the diabetes, chances of eye getting affected is high. So older drivers or traditional owner operator, they would cook their own food in the vehicle and eat. They would be very strict. Yes. But things have changed since more roadside amenities are available. People are eating whatever is available. Therefore, the quality of the health and the quality of food and health both has been compromised to some extent. Yes. I think, therefore, the constant checking up is very important, because after 45, a driver need to have a proper eye checkup, and if at all he needs specs, he need to wear it. That is something which we want to do it in a big way now. Okay. So I think these are the two things. One is driver training, education, scholarship, and the health. They are the three broad things which we focused.
Taking that health care point forward, this is the time when we are looking in the country to increase our vaccination pace. How have you been helping the truck drivers community and the transport community get more aware about the benefits of vaccination? Because there was a whole lot of confusion among a lot of people. First, the hesitancy. Then there is a confusion of which one to go for, and more education, how to be prepared for the second doses and everything. How have you been educating your truck driver community along all of this?
Yeah, we created a lot of awareness group, and each of our executives, relationship executives, they have their own customer group. Okay. We try to give message through them, get vaccinated early, get registered and all. There was some kind of a hesitancy among the driver, because in the driver community, even if you say you may get a fever for 1 or 2 days, yes, that itself is a job. I'll lose 2 days job. So that's the fear they have. So we need to tell them that it's good for you. You need to take only 1 day break, and then you'll be all right. And that will help you to manage the virus better, yes, going forward. That message we tried to give, and newly, where we would like to now get into vaccination directly. So we want to drive a vaccination program and create awareness, make them feel better.
All right, so now coming to your business, of course, this has been a very difficult period over the last 1.5 years of the pandemic. The good part is that the worst seems to be behind us now. The third wave hasn't hit us the way we had been anticipating, thankfully. So is the growth and the business visibility much better from here on? What is your outlook going forward on the growth aspect?
See, one thing, India has done a miracle of a sort by having a vaccination drive, and we have done 93 crores of vaccination. Is something a great achievement. Government's effort has been wonderful in that, and that has really helped. The positivity comes when the government and public, when they participate and they understand the situation and they take it forward. The fear of the third wave is behind us, and everybody is looking for the economic activity. I think it is globally, but more so in India, because India was hit badly in the second wave. Economic activities are picking up, and everywhere you see demand coming back. Manufacturing, there are pressure points, and the consumer product, there are pressure points. And people do say that overall demand has not gone up. Maybe for the white goods, demand has not gone up. The two-wheelers demand has not gone up. Because people have moved their priorities here and there. Right. There is more saving today. Their priorities have shifted. People would have saved by not traveling, by not eating outside. That has helped. And I think that will translate now into some kind of a consumption. If you look at the demand that generated in Jan to March this year, and suddenly got hit by the second wave. And if that demand comes back as it is from Jan to March, as it is if it comes back from October, I think the economic activities will be much better. So I think overall we are very confident, and new vehicle sales may not go up sharply. There will be some corrections, but there will be demand. The demand will definitely come back.
Okay. And what about credit offtake, sir? And what is your projection for loan growth going forward for FY22 perhaps and beyond that? And are we seeing a normalization there also, like pre-pandemic levels? How are you expecting the loan growth to be going forward?
Loan growth would be in double digit. So we don't want to really grow aggressively in this situation. What we have witnessed is economic slowdown was visible from 2018. It is not that it happened because of COVID. There was some slowdown. There was global challenges. Real estate market got hit. Real estate demand came down. All those things were there. So slowly from 2018 to 21, we have seen market or economy slowing down and the overcapacity built. See, what happens is when market also there is a overcapacity getting built over the period till from 2014 to 2018, economy was growing steadily and there was some kind of overcapacity and that is getting now totally utilized. And when you add new capacity,
Yes.
then you see economic activity going up significantly. Till you are not adding new capacity or new manufacturing or new products being sold, till then the economy will not really catch up. So I feel the situation right now will be where the new investment will be there, new projects would come in the private sector. Because in the government sector, government spend, there is a limit. It cannot go beyond particular level. So whatever the Prime Minister has announced recently on Gati Shakti Yojana, these are all infrastructure projects that create certain demand. But only when the private sector start investing in new capacity or increasing the existing capacity, then you will get a fresh impetus on the economic activity.
When do you anticipate that happening, sir?
I feel it should happen somewhere in the next year, not immediately.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir, for sharing all the wonderful insights that you have on how the company is really helping the entire transport community really deal with this crisis, overcome it, and how are you really helping augmenting the livelihood of their family members as well. And as a company, how we are looking to grow going forward. And we are keeping our hopes high on the economy also recovering from this pandemic as well. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.